And welcome to the AdDiTude Lounge, where we promote living a life well lived through the magic of doing what you love. I'm super excited about today's guest. Today we have Carol Obando-Derstine. She is a powerhouse to begin with, but she is the candidate for the Democratic Pennsylvania 7th District, Congressional 7th District, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And I want to, so welcome.
Gracias. Happy to be here.
De nada, bienvenida. Yeah, welcome and thank you for stepping in. I know you're super busy. One of the things I learned about the 7th Congressional District is that it consists of Lehigh County, Northampton County, part of Monroe County, right? And within that,
In carbon.
in carbon, oh my goodness, in carbon. And then within that, you're also looking at, several cities. You're looking at a multitude of townships
Yep.
and boroughs. So that is a big district. That's a big district. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about your passion, Carol, because you and I have a little bit of history because when I was in the workforce, I'm retired, but when I was in the workforce, I just remember running into you at pretty much like every community event.
Yes.
And I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. You've been doing this for a couple of decades, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I feel like I remember you like in your early 20s, like you're a kid and you're out there and I'm like, oh my gosh. And not too long ago, I don't know where it was that I saw how old you are, and I'm like, then she was like a kid when I met her, and I'm like, and look at this. And one of the things is that this is not new. Community engagement, community advocacy, none of that is new for you.
Right. That's right.
So let's get into it. Let's hop in, let's dive in, and let's talk about your passion and what got you here.
All right. My passion has always been to serve. I always have this motto of service above self. I know that's the motto of Rotary, and I am a Rotarian, but I've
Cool.
always had that philosophy. It's comes from the fact that I'm an immigrant, and I feel really, really fortunate to be in this country. I know it's a privilege to be an American, so I always spent my whole life trying to pay it forward because I couldn't pay it back, but I pay it forward. So I try to ensure that I give back in every way possible as a way to show my gratitude. It's almost like my love language is
That's
service.
beautiful. We all should be doing that. We should all be doing that in some way or another. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up coming here 22 years ago. I ended up in the Lehigh Valley because my husband ended up getting a job here in Bethlehem. We got married and I said, okay, let's give it a shot. We had never lived here, but this was an exit that was halfway between where we were going to college. I was in grad school at Penn State, Harrisburg, studying community psychology and social change. So I'm
Whoa.
about it. It
Yeah.
ties exactly with my personality. So this stop was halfway from my home in New Jersey. So that's where I was raised. I was raised
Okay.
in North Jersey. So I would see Allentown and we would just keep driving from
Yeah.
Harrisburg to northern New Jersey. And then he ended up getting a job here in Bethlehem and we got married. I moved here and we loved it and we don't ever want to leave the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say that because when I was younger, sometimes when you're young, you complain a lot, right? When you're a teenager, there's nothing to do. Where do I go? I'm the first thing I'm gonna do when I turn 18 or 21. I'm out of here. And honestly, I went through all that phase, and I am so blessed to be here in the Lehigh Valley. I truly, truly love living here. I really do.
Me too.
I truly do. I think it's a good mix. I
Hmm.
think it's the diversity. I love the diversity that we have, and there's a lot of opportunities. If you truly research, and there's a lot of resources out there, and I'm sure you know a lot about
Hmm.
that.
And there's fun things to do too. So I like going on the rails to trail, hiking and biking, and the Lehigh River. And so there's a lot of ways that we can enjoy nature also
I love
here.
that too. I used to hike, and I used to do the DNL trail with my bicycle all the way down to Eastern, which is a little bit of a hike. But because of some conditions I have not been able to do that for the past few years. But I get why you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just can't see myself being in any other place either. I've raised my two kids here in the Lehigh Valley, so I've built my career and reputation here as a servant,
Hmm.
using servant leadership skills
Yeah.
and embodying that. So that's really important to me at the core of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And so where did you get your bachelor's from?
I got my bachelor's from Rutgers,
Okay.
New
Okay. So
Brunswick.
yeah, you mentioned New Jersey, and actually, I have lots of friends in New Jersey and lots of sorority sisters. And Rutgers is one of those. Like, actually, the sorority I belong to, Chi Upsilon Sigma Corazones Unidos Siempre, it was founded at Rutgers. Like, that was the motherland, as some of them like to call it.
I remember seeing them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
ended up graduating in 1999 from Rutgers,
Okay.
and then I went straight to Penn State. And I met my
Nice.
husband there. He's older than me. He had been in the workforce. He had been an electrician.
Okay.
He never saw himself as college bound, because he didn't do well in high school,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he started to take interest in more wanted to do engineering when he was an electrician.
Right.
And then
Right.
he thought, okay, well, I'm going to go to night school and community college. And he thought, you know what, I am smart enough to do this. And he just kept going.
Yes.
Then he ended up full time. And so he was an undergrad student while I was a graduate level
Yeah.
student.
See, we all have stories to tell.
That's right. And
We
we
all
all,
have stories to tell,
and
man.
sometimes those stories, they get in your head. Like, he really thought he was not college material when he was in high school. He needed some years to mature. That's what he says. And I didn't know him at the time, but he said it was maturity. And then he realized, I can do more.
Yeah.
And he did it. And that's why I have gravitated towards jobs and opportunities that have to do with workforce development.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when I met you, because I met you I connected with you more when I worked at Northampton Community College.
Correct. Yeah, we were out there, whether it was because I used to visit the vocational schools, the high schools, go to like college fairs, community events, and so yes, I used to see you all the
So
time.
then maybe I did meet you at my first job, which was Skills USA Council. I led the organization here that works with 5 area career and tech schools
Yeah.
and helps launch students' careers with the technical training that they were getting at BAVITS, CIT, LCTI, MCTI, and then Upper Bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, we're fortunate. We got quite a few vocational technical schools, and they're amazing too, and they have programmings for traditional age students, but also for adult, learners as well. And yes, I don't remember if I met you through there. It might have been, but Skills USA, like, not a lot of people know about that, and it's an amazing program, and kids get to compete.
Yes.
They,
That's happening this week.
oh my gosh,
It's
get
so
out of
fun.
here.
They compete at Ag Hall in different subject areas. And
Yes, yes.
you walk in and you see the cosmetologist here, and you see the
And they
auto
take pride.
diesel
They're in their
repair.
uniforms. They take pride. Yes, yeah, yeah. That's amazing. That's really, I feel like every community needs people that can kind of, be there to handhold some folks. Because we're all different,
Exactly.
and our lived experiences are different. Like your husband. Maybe had he met somebody early on that said, no, you could do this, don't be afraid, that might have been a different, scenario. You just never know. And that's why I always like to encourage people. Like, every time I see, whether it's a younger person or an adult person furthering their education, whether it's in a vocational program or a college related, program, it's almost like I feel proud of them.
Me
Even
too.
though we may not be related, I don't know your story. I am proud that you're actually taking the steps to do this, and that maybe it's because I know what it takes and what you have to do that. Being a student is not easy either.
I love what you're getting at, and I appreciate people's career paths and journeys and how they get to things because, like you said, maybe if someone would have talked to him, that's true, but at the same time, he learned so much being an electrician that he's been able to use that to augment how he shows up as an electrical engineer. So it's that hands-on experience is what really helped him get the first job that he got
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
And
it's like all
it's a connected.
things happen for reasons.
They do.
And I feel like
They do.
it just evolved that way
Yeah.
and it worked for him. And in so many instances, it does the same for countless people. That's why so when I worked at Northampton Community College, it was a career exploration class. So it was different than Skills USA Council.
Yeah, yes.
I was an instructor for that program,
Okay.
but I met so many women, especially I met some women who were going through divorces and had been stay-at-home moms for like 2 decades. And then they were hitting one of those fork in the roads, like what is going to happen next? Because they had been home raising their children. They didn't go to school. They had, graduated high school and now trying to figure out what was going to be their next step. And it was a big upheaval. And I felt so proud to be part of that journey with them to try to help them help themselves, to try to figure out what was next for them. It was really rewarding.
Yeah. You and I have so much in common. And I didn't even know how much until I started like reading up on you, doing a little bit of homework, And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, so what you're saying is when I was an adult learner, I actually worked for that department. I was just like answering phones, kind of like the women that were coming in for their classes, I was checking them in. So I know exactly what you were talking about. Women, right? Women who who may have been married, never worked.
Yeah.
And now this is a whole new journey, a whole new life that they have to step into. And it's scary.
It's scary, and yet we we have so many abilities and skills and transferable skills that we don't even realize. A lot of especially stay-at-home moms, they're so good at multitasking and so, that's as simple as that but can vary and
Yeah.
so it's really cool to see the potential that people have.
Yes.
And I want to take all of that to Congress because I know about workforce development. I also served on the workforce board, Lehigh Valley. I was a member of the board for several years and when I worked at PPL. But prior to that, when I was working for Senator Casey, I would be almost like a guest. So I would sit in on the meetings too. So I knew what kind of conversations they were having
Yes.
and what kind of federal funding is needed.
Yes, yes. I mean, yeah, I can't even begin to imagine how busy you are, how because I feel like I see you everywhere. And not necessarily because I'm out there, because obviously no. But I'm on social media, so you're here one day, you're here the other day, or you're here in the morning and you're over there in the afternoon, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired. I'm like, God bless her, give her all the energy she needs to get through this,
Thank you.
Um,
Yes, please pray for me for
yes,
the energy.
yes, because no, life can be tough, and you do need energy, and you need to take care of yourself. You need to show up for yourself so that you're able to then show up for all of us in Pennsylvania. So, that's amazing, and just going back to the things that we have in common. I heard you also were at some point like was it a TSS and mobile therapist?
I was. Oh, what? I didn't know that about you. What,
Isn't
Addie?
that crazy?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? I did that for some years and I really enjoyed it. I truly I enjoy working with kids.
So
with
TSS,
students.
it's a therapeutic staff support.
Yes.
For folks that are listening and don't know what
I'm
that
sorry.
is.
Yes, absolutely. Mobile therapy is, these are services that maybe parents have applied for because their children have been diagnosed with, certain conditions and there's a multitude of them. It could be for so many different reasons, including autism and
Yep.
things of that nature. So it's just, an amazing service to be able to, bring into the home when parents aren't able to come out, and it's also something that creates consistency.
Right. And so would you go into the homes? Because when I was a TSS, I would go to the schools, and then I finished my master's program, and then I became a mobile therapist and a behavior specialist consultant. So
Yeah.
that's really how I got started.
Yeah. So I
Is
did both.
Mhm.
Like when I only had my bachelor's, right? I did, and then after I got my master's, I was able to do both. But yeah, the services I did provide was actually going into the home, and actually,
Mhm.
you know, when you're the just to put things into perspective, as a mobile therapist, you're supposed to put a behavioral program in place for the student so that, you know, for the child, so that they can be, you know, successful.
Mhm.
And then the TSS person is supposed to implement that plan
Mhm.
more regularly. So the TSS person is probably visiting the home more often than the mobile therapist, you know,
Mhm.
but they work together and they're always communicating together.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I truly enjoy that. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh,
I didn't know that though. That's
wow. So
cool.
look,
Oh
work for
my
Northampton Community
goodness.
College,
Check.
you know, vocational technical, you know, community, you
Mhm.
know, like TS. Oh my goodness. Like,
Oh wow.
now I haven't worked at PPNL though.
Okay.
But here's one for you. My father was an electrician.
Oh, okay. All right.
My father was an electrician. He actually he was, you know, one of the team leaders for when they were building the big radar in Puerto Rico. I wasn't born yet.
Mhm. Oh.
And I'm 30 twice. But yeah. Yeah, that was, you know, sometimes you grow up and you don't know, and then you're 20 and your dad tells you this and you're like, huh? And I'm like,
Mhm.
take me there. And he did.
Oh.
So it was fun that I got to experience that with him, you
So
know.
where is it exactly in
And,
Puerto
well, it's
Rico?
been destroyed because the last
Oh.
storm just destroyed it. But at one point, that was the biggest one in the world.
Mhm.
And it at one point it was run by NASA. And at another point, it was run by Cornell University. I'm
Mm.
not sure who had it last, but it was destroyed. Like the dish was the antenna, everything was destroyed. Yeah,
Oh.
and but it was amazing to have been there and have seen it all full functioning. And and furthermore, he took me back to, because some of the engineers there are his friends. So he took
No.
me back where they're listening to all, you know, the outer space stuff. And but
Oh, that's neat.
yeah, so you know, we have a lot in common, kind of, sort of, you know, like with
Yeah.
the,
And
yeah,
we have friends in common.
and we
También.
sure do. Yeah, yeah,
Because we were
seguro.
talking about a friend right before I sat down who I love, and I love small business owners.
Yes,
I
I
have,
support that all the way,
me too, me
all the way.
too.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, like,
Oh my
you know,
goodness,
it's a grind,
yes.
it's hard, but we have a friend, Panchita, um,
So it's Frances Mullen
Francisca.
and Frances Panchita's Kitchen. She's actually, I think, episode 3 or 4 for me,
Hmm.
and she's just amazing. She's out there, and it's not even just her food. It's it's just her spirit,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
Her spirit is always like boom, boom, boom. You know, she's in 100 different directions, yet she still has the time to call me and say, "How are you doing today? How's it going? Are you
Hmm.
better today?" You know,
But
and
she's
that's
showing up.
special.
And
And she loves
exposing,
you.
oh, and I love her back, and she's exposing, like she's, using the culture to, like,
Yes.
to sharing the culture with others. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I bought flan from her,
Hmm.
and around Christmas time she had one of those Christmas, like, huts.
She had the huts in
Yeah,
downtown Bethlehem.
I
Love my
love it.
downtown Bethlehem.
I
Yeah.
love it, and I bought
Yeah.
coquito from her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really important for us to let be proud of our heritage and culture and cuisine and everything else that's associated with the Latino culture,
And
and share it with everyone.
all our differences
Mhm.
are important. You know,
Mhm.
we don't all want to be the same either, but I get what you're saying. I am a huge supporter of local. You know, it's you can't afford everything, right? You can't be out eating out every day. But you know, last couple of years, I've tried to start visiting small business restaurants and try their
Mhm.
food and eat that and support them. Like, why not support them? I mean, honestly, you could get a great home meal cooked a cooked meal at one of these local restaurants that's going to cost you the same thing as, like a super unhealthy McDonald's meal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm about those small businesses, entrepreneurs. I love all of that whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and we, as a state, as a county, as a city, we need to support them. We need them. We these are some of the fun things we like to do when we go out. They're there. There's food trucks, here
Mm-hmm.
and there, and so that's important for culture, but for community,
Yes.
for community,
Mm-hmm.
like it's important. Like I view my community now with different eyes than I did when I was 16. Now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm proud of it, and there's so many things to do, and I tell people, even if I haven't done them myself, but there is a lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot to do. So
Yeah. And there's a lot of resources to help folks achieve their goals
yes.
along the way. I just had breakfast with someone over the weekend who works for the Small Business Development Center, and she is able to help a lot of Spanish speakers who are trying to start their business, and she
Mm,
helps with the business plans and connecting them to financing opportunities. So
yeah.
the resources are out there, but we need to make sure that at the federal level, see, this ties back. So I use what I have done to inform me and to guide me. That's what's motivating me to do this what I'm doing now, which
Yeah.
is running,
Right.
because we have faced cuts to the Small Business Development Center. The SCORE program was defunded.
Mm.
The SCORE program, it helps connect retired CEOs with like those budding
Oh, like a mentoring
entrepreneurs.
type of
Yes, it is.
programs
Yeah,
together.
with like the
Okay.
folks that are
And
trying to get
it's
their company off the ground, but like they're still
so they
early on.
debunked it. Just cut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's called the SCORE program. It's a mentoring
And that's
program.
a shame because I feel like even though, people do research, right, when they're going to open their business and but it's nice to be able to have someone
Mm-hmm.
to say, and I'll give you an example because when I launched my podcast, I was using like a whole different program to edit, and I ran into another podcaster at a community event, and he
Mm-hmm.
was out there, hey,
Yeah.
and Eric the host, shout out, and Dope Individuals Only podcast. And I said, I was like bold enough to, like, one time I was like, I need to find a better way to do this, and I hit him up. I DM'd him on Instagram. He don't know me. I don't know him. I says, listen, this is who I am. You willing to help out an old lady with the podcast? He was here within 2 days. He was
That's
like,
cool.
let's go. And I was like, and then he said, I wish I would have had someone like 4 years ago when I started that I could say, hey, is this okay? Hey, am I doing,
Mm-hmm.
So that's super important
Mm-hmm.
because people need that. They need that.
Right.
So that's an example. Like, yeah, that would have been great, because nobody wants to reinvent the wheel. If something works and you can share information, I love to share. I love to share. That's one thing I don't keep like if I find a way of doing something, I share it. Hey, did you try this? Hey, why don't you look at this? So I like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we need, yeah, so on a national level, we need funding for small business development centers.
Yeah.
And we have one at the mountaintop at Lehigh
Yeah.
University.
The
has
Icoca
their-
building up there, or
They have no, it's not at Iacocca, but it's
Okay. Yeah.
the Goodman campus. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And they've actually have I feel like they've had that business program for many years.
Oh yes, the Small Business Development Center has been here.
And actually they do a pretty good job. Yeah.
And
I
we-
talked to them years ago.
Mhm.
And yeah. Yeah.
And
I
we-
was impressed, whoever I
Oh,
spoke
yeah.
to at the time.
And we also have a tech incubator at Lehigh. It's called Ben Franklin Tech Partners of Northeast PA.
Oh wow.
I was on their board, but they have phenomenal companies that are there that are just doing lots of different things, but it's a tech incubator.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need to invest in what they call the Bens.
We need to put back into programs that are going to help community members because we're the ones living in this community. And how can you move forward? How can you name your career and go after it if you don't have the tools to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you don't have the help, not everybody, has money
Right.
to hire private consultants to do things for them.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't. And so, yeah, that's important. And somehow, like, the state level and the federal level somehow needs they need to connect a little bit better.
Yeah. And that's why I'm running, because I have all these experiences that I'm tying together. I'm like weaving them together into something that
Yeah.
I can bring that's useful, these skill sets that I have, to Congress.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I like about you is that you do have, even from that, that therapist type of, environment, mobile therapy, is that's important because that says a lot. What that says is, I know how to speak to you. I know how to speak to you with respect. And I know how to explain things to you because that's what you do. As a mobile therapist, you would put programs together. And so, I feel like you do have a little bit of everything that encompasses this amazing just fusion of, and you've had 20 years of it.
Fusion. I like that word. Yeah.
Yes. It encompasses all these fusions where because you could have politicians and you could have people in office who don't know how to speak to people.
Mm-hmm. And then I jumped from that. I worked in the public sector. So I did work for Senator Casey.
Yeah, that's
But the
amazing.
last thing that I did was get an engineering degree. So I paired that
Because you
learning.
can have nothing else to do, right?
But I'm really interested in renewable energy and how we
Oh,
can have a future
yes.
that's a cleaner, greener energy future.
Yeah.
So I tried to pair that up, and at PPL, I was successful because it turns out that having technical skills and then having people skills sometimes are not found in the same person.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
So
yeah. And
that's
PPL is like the Pennsylvania Power and Light Company here, like the major like company,
electric utility.
electrical. Yeah, where it's like, it's been here forever. I don't even know how many years, but yeah, before me.
106 years.
Oh, wow. So yeah, definitely before me. So yeah, no, like I think that's amazing because I feel like it's nice to know someone is running for office that's authentic and that you've seen them out there and you sit down and if you have to have a burger together you have burgers. If you need to have fries with some greasy cheese, you have fries with greasy
I'm
cheese,
for it.
and it's okay. I mean, this is an example. I have not been feeling well, and I even gave you a heads up, and you were so kind. He's like, hey, I'm checking in, are you okay? And I'm like, let's do this. Let's do this and try it, man. Got to
That's
stay
right.
positive. So I'm here and I'm thankful I can be here because I wanted to be able, I need to be able to show up for my guests in a way that they deserve. And so, I was like, the only way I wouldn't have done is if I couldn't be here and I couldn't, match your vibe.
Oh, I love you, Addie. I love your vibe.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a
Yeah, you
really
have to stay
positive.
positive. You
Yep.
have to, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, what's in the works? What are you visiting now? I know that you're gonna start collecting signatures.
Yes. So right now, I probably should tell you my website first and foremost, so I don't forget later.
And I'll tag it. Yeah.
Okay. My website is carol4pa.com. And the 4 is FOR because it's not the number.
Exactly.
So it's carolforpa.com.
Yeah. That's pretty easy, guys.
That's right. So what we're going to be doing is moving into another phase of the campaign.
Okay.
I've been doing this since May 1st. I left PPL at the beginning of April. I had been approached a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was in February. I was approached by the former Congresswoman, Susan Wild, who said she didn't want to try to retake the seat. She had lost in November of 2024. Yes. She approached me and thought that I had the best shot at beating Ryan McKenzie. And she asked me if this would be something I would consider. And initially I thought, well, I don't come from money. I don't come from power. I come from a working class background. My parents were both in unions. They worked really hard. But everything was like, keep your head down. Mm-hmm. You don't stand out. Like, you just go work. So that was how I was raised.
Yes, I know that too well. I know that too well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as an immigrant, I came here at the age of 3. So it's like, do not do anything to draw attention to yourself. So she approached me, but I thought, if not now, then when? Because we're facing a crisis right now. We're in a moment, a sheer, utter crisis. We have an affordability challenge
Hmm.
that we haven't seen in a really long time. Folks are really struggling to make ends meet, to pay for the essentials like housing, healthcare, groceries, utilities, and childcare. And then it also feels like it's a crime to be Latino in America right now.
Yeah.
And as an immigrant, as a person who came from Colombia, this is really painful to watch folks that look like my family members get dragged off the street, disappeared. It's
Yeah.
unacceptable. And I thought, yes, I'll do it. I'll do it because I have something to share. I have a perspective that is useful. I have not just all the work experience that I told you, but it's the
Work
it's
and
to
people
understand the
experience, not only work
struggles.
experience.
Yeah,
You got
yeah,
people
like
experience.
I lived through language barriers,
Mm.
empty wallets, and sacrifices.
Mm.
But when I climbed out, I didn't pull the ladder up from under me.
Mm.
So I didn't just, I don't just talk about struggles.
Mm-hmm.
I've survived them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's what the energy I'm putting into this race.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about.
Yeah. And that's what people need to know. This is why you're here. People need to learn who you are and what you're able to bring to the table. And I think people want people who, I think at the end of it all, listen, this is interesting because I am not a huge political person. So, but I think there comes a time that sometimes, you have to say and I'm not trying to bash anybody whatsoever, but I felt like change needed to be made, but not like this. And, you can do change, but not, I am not an immigrant. I'm Puerto Rican. I am a United States citizen.
Yep.
Yet I felt the same things you felt when I came from Puerto Rico at the age of 7 and had the language barrier and had to go to school and kids making fun of you and all of that kind of stuff. And even as I still have an accent. And even sometimes as you pronounce things, even adults, oh, it's not pronounced that way. And I'm like, okay. So now I tell people, no, you pronounce my name wrong. Please pronounce it correctly.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
Because I can relate.
yeah,
Obando gets
Obando.
butchered.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. And so, but I feel like I feel like at the end of it all, we all want respect.
Yes.
We all want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
We all want a better lives, not only for ourselves, but for our loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to come together somehow and fix this.
We want a shot. We want.
Yeah. And even though
Yeah.
I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm Puerto Rican and I have an accent, and I'm being profiled.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I need to carry my passport with me. I'm gonna say it. I'm a little afraid.
Yeah.
And
it shouldn't be like that.
And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. And yeah, and I don't want that for anybody. But yeah,
I don't want that for anyone either.
yeah. So
yeah.
So changes need to be made, and we need authentic people in place. And so I'm excited that you're on this journey. I'm excited that because I know you've been at this for like a year and you've been everywhere. And when I mean everywhere, I mean like every activity. And I mean, hit her website. Truly, like go to her website, check out what she's doing. Check out her social media platforms as well, because there you get to see all the places that she visits on a regular basis, and any kind of speaking engagement that she's had. That's important. And of course, I never asked to go and follow anybody. These are decisions that you got to make, but give it a shot. Go listen. You got to learn. You got to learn, regardless. You can't shut anybody down until you learn about them. And I think that's important to spread, everybody needs a shot.
Yes.
Let me prove myself. right?
Exactly.
Get me in there. Let me prove myself.
But I love it when I'm with people who have known me for years because they know that I'm about like what I say. You know, oftentimes on the campaign trail, I'll say something like politicians promise and engineers deliver and fighters never quit. Because I'm the engineer, you know, that even as an adult, I went back to school and became an engineer, and I don't quit.
Yeah.
Because I've done that my whole life. So when people know the real Carol, you know, then they know that I am speaking truth, and this is truly who I am.
Yeah, you're resilient, and you know, I even said that to myself yesterday because I was going through, you know, some health issues, and I'm like, yeah, but Addie, you know, you've been like, you know, you've had a lot, you know, and sometimes we have to give each other, you know, grace.
Yes.
Ourselves.
That's true.
Because, and I've said this so often, and even as an educator, this was like my line, right, to all the students. It's like we also have to cheer ourselves on. We can't expect for other people to do that. You know, we can motivate them to do that, but we have to cheer ourselves, because when people see ourselves cheering, they're like, oh, okay, well, let me see. You know, let me check out what this person is about. And life is hard, and so, you know, we have to do also what we need to get our foot there. And you're right what you said before, that you like, you know, talking to people that have known you. And I have to say, you know, I know a lot of people, and sometimes even myself, I'm going to say sometimes, you know, I could be moody, but you have been the same person with the same smile every time since I've seen you for the past 2 decades at community events.
Well, I have to say something though, because sometimes people have mistaken my kindness for weakness.
Yeah, no.
And that's that, you know, like I have to remind
You're
people.
Spicy. You're spicy
I'm
too, right?
still Latina, okay? They're just because that's my best representative.
Right.
You know, I put my best representative forward, but yeah, of course I can, you know, sharp elbows. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten this far
Yes.
being a pushover.
Yes. Yes.
No, I was raised in a very urban area in New Jersey. It was tough. You had to be tough. And then I had to put myself through school. My parents couldn't help me with college.
Yeah.
I had to learn grit and determination and hustle. So that's in me. And who goes to college, back to school in their 40s at night to study? I never had studied a STEM degree, but I wanted to do it. So I got to work, and I had to take some math classes, and that's what needed to be done. And so it got done. That's it.
That calculus stuff.
What has to be done gets done. So I believe in just getting stuff done.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with you. You know, in the past, when you decided to run, you not only named your future and what you're going to do, but you also decided to take charge and start the process to do it. Because sometimes we can name things, but then we get stuck and we don't do them. And so not only did you name it, and I always talk about naming because we have to take charge about our lives and our future and our representation and how we want to live in this world, you know,
Right.
what we want, how do we want to be remembered, you know? And so, you know, you did that, but to start that, there's a lot of work. And so that process, you jumped into it, and that's the process you're in. And like you mentioned earlier, it is steps. So now this coming step, you have to gather signatures.
Yes. So getting back to, right, we're moving into another phase, whatever stage, whatever you want to call it. Right. But now we're going to start February 17th through March 10th is the petition signing stage.
Okay.
I need 1,000 verified signatures.
Let's go.
But I have to collect well over 1,000 to make sure no one challenges me. So I'm about to try to collect 3,000, and I could use volunteers in helping me. It has to be registered Democrats because we have a closed primary in Pennsylvania. So only Democrats can vote for a Democrat.
That's good to know.
And only one person can only sign, like the person can only sign one petition.
Like in the household?
No. There are other people running.
Oh, okay.
So there's 7 of us.
You can only support
You can only sign one petition. It doesn't
Okay.
mean that you're going to vote for them. It's not like you're forced to.
Right.
But you can only sign one of the 7 who are running.
Yeah.
So I could use the support. I would be, if I'm successful, I would be the first Latina elected to Congress ever from Pennsylvania, or Latino, like
Yeah.
a person of Latin descent.
Amen. Yeah.
In 250 years.
That's powerful. So
Because representation matters.
Correct.
Because there's more millionaires than moms in Congress. Our country is made up of 51% women. There's 30% women in Congress. So we need better representation of moms, of working moms,
Right.
of Latinos who have never had this district has the highest percentage of Latinos of any swing district in Pennsylvania.
Wow. Yeah.
So we don't have enough STEM, people who have a STEM background. And right now we have a potential energy crisis with not enough generation. And yet, so the supply is going down at the same time that demand is going up because of data centers. I've connected companies to the grid, and most of them were renewable energy companies. So I have done the work. I understand. It's important to have energy experts like me in Congress to navigate this moment.
But could you imagine if we're having a crisis, how could we move forward? I mean, just this is energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that could be, yeah.
So that's another thing that sets me apart.
Absolutely. No, you listen, you have, in my book, you have all the experience, but in particularly, people experience is so important.
Yes.
And it's not just about I've been out there campaigning for the past year. It's about you've been out there for the past 20 years.
Helping people help themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I have heard that I feel really applies to me as well, there's a phrase that people say, it's people closest to the pain should be closest to the power because they understand. Because I'm not going to forget the language barriers, the empty wallets, the sacrifices. That's
Correct.
part of who I am and what made me who I am. And so I understand those policies at the federal level impact
Right.
a wide swath of people. I'm not just focused on the billionaires.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you've lived it. And so yes, I agree. You know, it's not too long ago I started saying this thing, like, I don't ask people for advice who don't walk in my shoes or who haven't walked in my shoes. And that's kind of like, you know, what you're saying. You're saying, like, we need someone representing that can represent everyone, including these types of hardship that people have had to endure. No, unless you've gone through that, nobody would understand what that's like. Yeah.
Exactly. Right on, Addie.
Yeah, man. It's you got a tough job, but I have nothing but positive thoughts for your campaign. And
and I should say, so the petition signing process is from February 17th through May 10th.
Right.
I'm sorry, March 10th.
March 10th.
March.
Yeah.
But the actual primary itself is May 19th. May 19 is the primary.
So you got to get out and vote. Okay. Got to get out and vote. That's a right that you have. Exercise
so register. If you haven't registered to vote, register to vote. And if you want to vote for me, then you have to register as a Democrat.
Correct.
But you could change it back. It's very easy if you want to, change it later. But in order for me to win the primary, I have to be elected by Democrats.
Right. Correct. And I think you're going to get those signatures. I think you're going to get them. I truly believe that you're going to get them. And I'm going to put a lot of information. I'm going to tag her website. Once I put up the video, I release it. And please contact her. If you're interested in volunteering, if you want to sign the petition, if you haven't registered to vote and you don't know how to do it, speak to a family member, call somebody. I mean, honestly, Google it. It's not, difficult. Try to find somebody that can help you do that. And I know there's people out there registering too.
Yeah.
So always be on the lookout, because you never know when you run into one of those folks when you're walking into a supermarket or something.
So I ask people for their time, talent, and treasure because I'm also fundraising.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. This doesn't come free. Everything you do, all the travel that you have to
The
do,
mailers,
yes.
and I'm building the voter outreach plan that I need to get to everyone that I need to touch to be able to get my message across.
Yeah,
So they could know who I am and that I'm the real deal.
That's right. You heard it right here at the AdDiTude Lounge. And honestly, yes, you are. You're not, you are the real deal. And anybody that's actually from the Lehigh Valley would be able to see that. Anybody that's out in the community will be able to see that, because, like I said, I've known you since you were like, a little mocosa, like a little 22-year-old. So it's amazing to have watched you grow into the woman that you are today, and also to be able to see that you have a passion to serve.
I do,
because not everybody does that. A lot of people are out there for self, and I get it. Times are hard. People are trying to save themselves, but like I said, there's room out there for improvement, and you're willing to put in the time and the work, and you're from the community, and I just can't see a better person to do it. Yeah.
Thank you, Addie.
Yeah. If I wanted somebody to represent me, I just need them to know, like some of the things that other people have to go through, not just the average person. There's more to the average person, than just, there's a lot. There's culture, there's we're also talking about like the income people are making. There's a lot of people under poverty level as well.
And there's ALICE families. They're doing everything right. ALICE is an acronym: Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed.
Wow.
They're doing everything right that they're being told. They're working, but they're just struggling to make ends. They're really, really struggling to make ends meet. And there's an ALICE report that the United Way puts out, and it says that there's 41% of our district are struggling right now.
That's high.
But if you start looking at the numbers more closely, and you look at like Lehigh County, which has the highest amount of Latinos and African Americans, we're talking about 62%.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So the struggle is disproportionate in the communities of color.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, I'm just going to say there's a lot of corporations that employ people but don't pay them their worth. And so it's like a vicious cycle. They're in there, they're not getting paid their worth, but either they qualify for assistance, and where do they spend their money? Back into that same corporate store. And it goes
I know
into
what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it goes in, it is a cycle. It's a vicious cycle,
We need people over profits.
Yes. And yeah. And so is the pharmaceutical. And it's just a vicious cycle too. Like I just learned not too long ago that, and now it makes sense that, so like Aetna Insurance, right, is, let's say has a preferred pharmacy, and it's CVS. Well, of course, CVS owns Aetna. So it's like we're going, so it's like those kind of things. And, I mean, you're not going to be able to fix those kind of things later, but I feel like those are the kind of things that are contributing to, the disproportion in how people are spending their money, their, what's costing and how much they're making,
Yeah.
And that gap somehow needs to close
the gap.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So that we can have a better community. When we have better community, when we're treating people with respect, when they're being paid their worth, they're going to feel better about themselves, and they're going to be better people. That's usually how it works. Like, when you're happy and you're doing well, you treat other people well, right?
And they're going to be around for their kids. They don't have to work 2 to 3 jobs, and then their kids are alone, and then getting into stuff that they
In
might
trouble.
not have gotten into
Right.
if they had someone around. So there's so many ways in which it's like all tied together. And
Yes.
I think folks need to be cognizant of that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, I'm personally all very much aware of that because part of my educational background was also working with high school students who, they were having lots of challenges in high school,
Hmm.
behavioral wise,
Yeah.
and so, you
Yeah,
know,
it goes back to the TSS.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, no, I mean, these kids were getting expelled and things
Yeah.
of that nature. And it's like, well, you can't just continue to expel like everybody. A program needs to be put in place so that we can somehow teach them some skills so that we can integrate them back where they belong,
Yeah.
not segregate them, not keep them out,
Hmm.
So there's a lot. And I just, wow. Where's your next stop?
So right now I do have a dinner that I have to go
That's right.
to. But I'm everywhere
Yeah,
just trying because I'm everywhere for a reason.
of course.
It's because I'm trying to get to different events and have conversations with people and topics so I can be very well rounded
Yeah.
and really understand
Hmm.
what's what's on the minds of everyone here in the district. So
Yeah.
that's why I travel so much to get to the people for them to share
Yeah.
because that's the job. The
Yeah.
job is showing up. The job is listening to learn.
Yes.
The job is being a problem solver.
Yes. Yeah. I like that. I like the listening part, right? Because so often listening is not a skill that everybody acquires
Hmm.
well, and so sometimes, a lot of times you talk about, in general terms as like a speaking engagement, but I love the way you worded that you're there to listen, not to talk. You want to listen to the
To learn,
people. You
listen to
want to
learn.
learn
Hmm.
what are the things that, right, what are the things that are not working in this county, what are the things that are
Hmm.
not working in this city or this township.
Where are the trends?
Hmm.
And then piecing it together and then coming up
Yeah.
with solutions.
Yeah.
Being that problem solver.
Yeah.
That's what engineers do.
Yes, I love that. I love that, and I'm so happy that you're doing that because people, everybody wants to be heard too.
Hmm.
That's another thing. I think sometimes people get frustrated because they're not being heard.
Right.
You know, and it's difficult sometimes, for certain people, and the way the world is too, the advocacy, or like sometimes I think everybody needs an advocate because it's hard to navigate sometimes. And
Hmm.
so imagine when you're trying to navigate and you're not just, what can I say, um, you're not just like, a person, trying to go from point A from point B. No, you have to learn how you're going to get from point A from point B.
Hmm.
You know. So, I mean, I want to thank you just for being
Thank
here.
you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
I'm super stoked for you, and yeah, I can't wait to see where you go next. And I'm definitely gonna be signing that. You're gonna get my signature, and then
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. I put in, I already actually I put in my ballot for mailing ballot because I've been doing that just
Hmm.
because I don't want to miss out on the rights that I have to vote,
Right.
if I'm sick.
Hmm.
And so, I have been sending. I'm like, I've been doing that for the past 3 years, so I'm like, oh, I had it submitted in again, so I just
Good.
did that today.
It's very easy. Yes.
It's
Yes.
super easy. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
honestly, yeah, all you needed was your
Do it.
name, your name and social security number and your license, driver's license number,
Hmm.
and it's boom. So, there's a lot of resources out there, for everyone, to be able to use. But, in particularly, if you take a few things from here is, go check, Carol's website, and it's Carol, FORPA.com.
That's right. Mhm.
And, if, you have a,
And I have a tab on voting. So
man,
I have my bio, meet Carol. I got the priorities section. I have a section on voting, and you can get links to where you can get your mail-in ballots.
yes,
It ties to the counties. voter registration offices.
Correct. And you're raising funds, so
Mm-hmm.
usually when you log onto her page, the window will pop up, right, for
Mm-hmm.
donations. So that's easy. And then
Every dollar counts.
everything, yeah, even if it's $5, anything.
Anything.
And so if you also want to get involved, as a volunteer,
There's a tab for that.
there's a tab for
That
that. So
you
there
can
you
sign
go.
up. Yeah, I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, any last, words, anything you want to leave the audience with that maybe we haven't discussed?
That this democracy works when we get involved.
Yes.
So it's about everybody showing up.
Yeah.
And we all have different skill sets. So I'm running for Congress, but look at what Bruce Springsteen did. He wrote a song.
Yeah.
And it's popular and it's motivating people.
Yeah.
So we can all do our part and use your skill sets to make this world a better place.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so, until next time, like keep dreaming, stay connected actually.
Yep.
Keep dreaming, stay connected with the community, and live a life well lived.
And
through the
joy is an
magic.
act of resistance.
Yes. Yes.
I love that phrase.
Oh my goodness, it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you have joy, it does changes everything.
Yeah.
It does changes. And that's why I always say you got to stay positive, because that changes your mindset of how you're looking at the situation that you may be in, and staying positive could gets you through that. So joy is important. Yeah. Joy is something we need to have and we need to look for. And so joy could be volunteering.
For my campaign.
That's right. Yeah.
That'll bring me joy.
I'm sure. So thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Adi.
Thank you for being here and taking the time. And thank you guys, for supporting me. And, until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thank you.